Gonna proc it now. Gonna proc it now by Jackson Aurelia. Jackson Aurelia. Gonna proc it now. Gonna proc it now. Proc it Jackson Aurelia. TForce.
Welcome to the rework of the TForce. Now we going hard cause we bumping at the beat source. It's a 3-course dinner of dudes bringing the news and stats, interviews and casts from the pro scene. So fresh and so clean, like you're leaning with Nami in the bot lane. Keep it hot like brand, practicing his dot game. Give it to you easy like you're Resi in a bot game. Imagine Draven at prime time. Now ulti like LeBlanc can copy that 4 times, but manlier. Knock it up like now fight planning a family-er. You gotta be tuned in like Sona on the ad wall. Get on the chat call. Can a podcast really be all that? Of course. How do 4 guys pick a Triforce?
Hey guys, welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia Cogswell, and I am your host for this lovely evening. I am once again wearing my King DeClawd shirt. Yes, it has been washed, and it smells minty fresh.
Well, you look no like one can confirm that. We just have to take your word for it.
Yeah.
And you never lie, so.
I've never lied, ever. Yeah, that's right.
It's that magic hat number 9. Sweating out right there.
I do have some magic hat number 9. How'd you know? How did you know I was drinking that tonight?
Because you showed us last
almost
time.
as if we met before we went live.
That doesn't happen.
No.
There's no man behind the curtain.
There is a
We
woman,
just
though.
all appear in the call right at 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Wait,
All
wait.
right, let's do this.
I'd like
This
to open
shit
this
is
call
pure magic.
with a riddle, okay? All right. So, the reporter from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, if you combined her with the Joker's girl, Harley
Do you
Quinn.
not know the names of any of these people?
I can't disclose the first one because it'll ruin the punchline.
I assume.
So I can say Harley Quinn. You would get an April Fool, right?
You
She's
would.
kind of a fool, Jester.
Is that a
Yeah.
is that a riddle or is that a pun?
That's
I said riddle so that you would let your guard down. And then bam, hit you with a pun.
all right.
All right, let's push right forward here.
All right,
As
move
I
on.
said, there's 3 great guys and a girl with me this week. DeClawd's here. Say hi, DeClawd.
Hello.
Punch.
Hey.
Scott Haberdashing from the 4 Wards podcast.
Yeah, that's me.
Yes, I would have introduced you last, but I said 3 guys and a girl. So Days is here too.
Yeah,
Hi, Days. That is, like I mentioned last week, Haberdashing is joining us from the 4 Wards podcast, so we can talk a little bit more about what 4 Wards is. Like, I can give you guys an insight of, the way we see it, but it has been evolving and rapidly changing over like the last 3 or 4 episodes. So
yeah.
we will move into the 4 Wards podcast here in a moment. I do want to run down some quick notes and talk about donations, which how it'll go is we'll do the donations. There's a question of donations for Punch, and then we'll go right into 4 Wards after Punch asks this guy's question. So first and foremost, don't forget to check us out on TeamSpeak. We are at ts.trinityforcepodcast.com. You can go type that into your TeamSpeak server, and you'll be able to join us. We're playing lots of Earth games now that Earth has finally come out, so we might talk about some of those patch notes today too. So stay tuned to that. I'm a terrible host.
You try. We love you.
Not bad.
If you want to help out if you want to help out with cancer research, because we're all about eradicating cancer and helping out the kids. Lancifur, our producer, did I say eradicating the kids? Because if I did, I'm going to just walk out.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
Until now.
No one telling me did.
I didn't hear anything.
If you want to help out with some cancer research, Lancifur, he's shaving like all the hair off his face and his head. He's just shaving everything when it reaches $150. So if you go to bit.ly/TForce beard, you can donate like $5 to him. Help him get to his goal of $150. That helps cancer research, and when he makes it there, he'll shave his hair off. I'll make him post it on Twitter and on this TForce subreddit, before and after picture of it.
Nice.
That sounds
That'll
perfect.
be
Yeah.
that'll be interesting.
So that's a lot of fun. bit.ly/TForce beard. Please go check that out and donate for the cancer research and for the kids. As well, one last announcement this week. We have just spun up a new virtual machine, and we are starting to swap over to TrinityForceNetwork.com. That means all the URLs for your website, for your favorite shows and everything are going to change. More than likely, it's going to be like TrinityForceNetwork.com/4wards/TForce/LCS, etc. WoW will be like TrinityForceNetwork.com/FK. We'll have all that list for you. We'll have an easy way for you to get all those things. But as soon as we go to TrinityForceNetwork.com, the website's going to look like it did before, and then it's going to swap over to the new one here in the next month or so. We're moving in that direction. They really pushed this to the network, the thing we've been talking about for so long. So just so you guys know, if you have a problem downloading the podcast, you have a problem getting the website, whatever it may be, it's because there's going to be name server swappage, and I'm sure DeClawd has to deal with that shit every day, right?
Yeah. Yep. And be sure to use the Twitter TForce Network now too. Follow that.
Good call. It is no longer TForce Podcast. It is TForce.
It's already changed over.
Don't make my mistake.
Of tweeting at TForce Podcast?
Yeah. I've done
Still do it too.
recently. Yeah.
Some growing
Did
pains.
somebody take that over?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I make
Got
sure anytime I buy a domain or anything, like I make sure, or I just make sure anytime I do something with Twitter, I hold the old name just in case I ever want to go back to it. I think I still own like SK Pone from like 4 years ago, like one of my original Twitter names, because I'm like, I don't want anyone to take that.
A little greedy, but, whatever.
Hey, if someone wants to pay me for it, I'll give it to them. I don't care.
Good preparedness. Are you a prepper?
No, but if you want to help donate to the podcast, you go to trinityforcepodcast.com/donate. As I read on Monday, we had one donation come in. So thank you for that donation. We had one more donation come in this week after that. Kyle donated $10 with a very long paragraph and a question. So this is going to jump right into the League of Legends discussion and then talk about 4 wards and get back into more mailbag. So Kyle donated $10 saying, "Hey guys, just want to say thank you for teaching me so much. Your podcast has improved my game and I want to say thank you. I asked this question a few months back, but it's gotten lost in the ether. Question is directed towards Punch. I love playing ADC, but I have a lot of trouble in team fights. At my elo, low silver, team fighting really has no front line or back line. It's a mess of everyone face rolling and end up caught in 1 or 2 different scenarios. Either 1, dance around the edge of the fights, trying not to get jumped on, which leaves my team low or DPS, or get too close and end up... Or, number 2, I DPS and get too close and end up getting jumped on by Zed or Yasuo. Where is the best balance between these in a chaotic fight? Again, thank you guys so much and keep up the good work."
All right.
Awesome. Thanks for the donation.
Yes, thanks a bunch.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're getting jumped on, you got a few options. The first is there's usually a defensive item you can pick up to help you stay alive. It's usually dependent on who's jumping on you. Like if Zed is jumping on you, that would be Quicksilver Sash because you can hit that, take off his ultimate, and then he shouldn't be able to kill you unless he's super far ahead. For Yasuo, it's pretty simply just dodge his tornado because if you dodge that, he's got nothing else to get to you. He has to dash through your team, which means your team would have to just forget that he's there. Like the turn blinders on, like, where'd Yasuo go? He's killing the ADC, who cares?
According to him in this email, they do.
That shouldn't happen. If something like that is happening, where there's a certain champion that's jumping on you and Quicksilver Sash doesn't help, or Banshee's Veil wouldn't help, Guardian Angel is pretty good, since they're usually blowing a lot of cooldowns to kill you, and that means they're not going to be back up when you pop back up when you resurrect from Guardian Angel. So that's kind of your fail-safe defensive item. Another thing you can do is wait for cooldowns, and that is wait until they use their engage on somebody else. This assumes that you have somebody else on your team that's a threat, right? This is why I hate the Protect the Kog'Maw comp, because there's only one threat in your team that's the
Big
Kog'Maw.
bullseye on your chest.
So they can use all their cooldowns on Kog'Maw. They don't have to, what I'm trying to say is, if you stay out of the fight for a little bit of time, not too long, eventually they're going to have to use those cooldowns on somebody, or else that other threat is going to kill them. At the same time, you don't want to dance around the edge of the fight because you need to be attacking somebody. That's your job. You've got to be attacking, even if it's the person that dives you, and you have to use a flash to escape them. Then you can attack that person that dived you. So long as you're attacking somebody, you can't just stand around waiting. And me bringing up flash kind of brings up the third point, which is just outplaying your opponent. I mean, at some point, you have to get good enough at the game to outplay your opponent. That's where using your summoner spells comes in, using flash to dodge and engage, using heal to keep yourself alive, and just using movement speed to outrun somebody. And I guess the last thing you could do, which is pretty rare, would be like a flank, where you're kind of playing marksman like an assassin, where you're hiding in the shadows, and they're like, "Oh, the marksman's not here. I guess we can engage on the team." And then after they engage, then you come out and attack. So those are my recommendations.
He mentioned Zed. Do you build QSS?
For Zed?
When there's a Zed?
Yes.
Generally build it? Okay.
Yeah, Quicksilver Sash. And very rare instances if Zed is super far ahead, Quicksilver Sash and Guardian Angel. Because sometimes that guy's an asshole.
Just the two.
There is a... I think this answer is much larger than what you can do in the team fight. Because part of playing AD carry properly... I know Haber, he's an AD carry main. I'm sure he wants to jump in on this a little bit too. in that you need to master orb walking. as an AD carry. And you need to understand orb walking at every piece of attack or every level of attack speed you have. Now, when I say level, it's just what items you get. That is a level increase to your attack speed. Yes, it's a number, but if you look at it as at a zeal, I can attack once every second. At a zeal plus my boots, I can attack every 1.25 seconds or something like that. I don't know the exact numbers, but when you start looking at it, you'll get a feel for what you can do. But part of outplaying the opponent is understanding how to properly orb walk using your A key. For orb walking, for those the uninitiated, is attacking, moving, and then attacking once again. That once your attack animation is ready to reset itself, basically, and you are moving in between auto attacks.
The goal is to not lose out on any auto attacks.
Right. While moving,
maximizing the downtime in between them.
Right.
One of the biggest.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go on, Dace.
I was gonna say one of the biggest things that I see is that people will cancel their auto attacks, or they'll misclick and they'll walk into people because they don't have good mouse mechanics. So that might be something too, where you think you're doing damage in a team fight, and really you're walking into them, or you're canceling your auto attack before it actually does any damage. And those things make a big difference in your DPS and your overall ability to stay alive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when it comes to like positioning and stuff for these team fights, I think that like the term frontline and backline are a bit like misnomers. A lot of the times, like you're playing someone like Renekton in the top lane, they're going to be diving way forwards, where you're not going to have the same sort of protection. But you kind of have to develop that sense where you develop like a buddy system almost. It's not always you're going to be in the very back. It's going wherever is like the safest. And yeah, if your support is now just like going off to the left, you got to go to the left with them. Even if that puts you closer to one of the enemies, it's better than staying by yourself at a lot of times, because you in like the mid game you can get deleted in an instant if you're against that Zed or that Yasuo.
Also, if you're a huge damage source in your team, that's why you're getting dived. Just ask your team to help peel for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, sometimes they'll listen. Crazy it might seem, people in solo queue might listen if you ask them, hey, could somebody peel for me?
Yeah, no one wants like their AD carry to die. It's just the fact that it's not at the front of their mind, and it may not be right on their screen because they've already gone way away from you, or they're not there yet. So, when you are closer to them, it's right in front of them. They have to deal with it. Oh, my Vayne is getting dove by the Vi. I should probably deal with that.
Yeah, sometimes when people dive, they kind of assume that everyone else is following them, and they don't realize that their AD carry might be getting picked off by somebody.
Yeah.
There is that's also the whole like swallowing the ego type of thing. 'Cause you don't need to carry the game. Sometimes you can let your AD carry the game for you, and instead of diving the back line, you can stop back and peel. I honestly had to learn that a long time ago. I didn't need to be diving the AD carry. I needed to be standing back, protecting punch, and letting punch carry me. It just with the games we played, I learned it playing ranked 5s. Punch as my AD carry in that scenario. But something else I've learned recently, and that goes off of learning that I don't need to dive, is that in my opinion, in like the high platinum games, like right now you're complaining that nobody is doing anything in a team fight because nobody knows how to team fight essentially in silver. What do I do? Who knows? But in platinum, people know how to team fight, but nobody knows how to peel, or nobody wants to peel, nobody wants to disengage. So I find a lot of success with like Braum and other supports like that in those higher levels, because instead of engaging a team fight, which we tell you guys how to carry yourself, play a Mumu, play Malphite, engage, there's going to become a point where everybody knows how to engage, but nobody knows how to disengage or peel at a team fight. And so learning the master of both of those is going to start setting you up higher and higher in the ranks as you start playing solo queue, because you'll be able to recognize when you need to do you need to peel or disengage as well as engage a team fight. So just something a little bit of
I'm convinced that Plat is a whole group of people who all learn to carry themselves and are still in that mindset that they have to carry the game on their own shoulders and don't work as a team. That's 100% what I'm convinced.
I said the same thing the other day.
I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everybody got there by carrying themselves somehow, and now everybody feels like they have to carry, but nobody wants to let somebody else carry them.
Yeah, there's a huge focus on kills, not enough on doing things like peeling or taking objectives.
So I think wrapping it up, what Punch was saying, you just want to be attacking something. You don't want to be not attacking something, because you are the one that needs to deal the damage. And then when you do have that player who wants to try to work like a teammate and peel, he's peeling for somebody who's not attacking anybody, it's not really going to do anything.
Yeah, I think
Be a threat.
Hopefully that answers your question. Thank you so much for donating to the podcast, and hope somebody else out there learned from your question. If you would like to donate to the podcast and ask a question, more than likely your question is going to get answered.
Eventually,
It's going to get answered.
Possibly, yeah.
You may need to
Somewhere
ask
to get
twice.
lines.
Yeah, the thing is, if you donate and ask a question, it's going to get answered because we're going to read your donation and then have to
my
read your
gosh.
question.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you that like this is a fast lane, but it's just
You
the
just
fact of the
did.
matter.
They're still going to answer your questions regardless.
Yeah.
Unofficially.
We actually have a
sending
lot of questions to answer, so if you send one in, it's going to get answered. It's going to get answered by email. And this is actually a really good segue into talking with Scott here with the Four Wards, because we've actually been sending a lot of the questions that you guys have been sending us to the Four Wards. Guys.
Wow.
Did
So-
you guys discuss orb walking?
We kind of talked on like using the auto tech move key last week a little bit, but
Okay.
I mean we could do a whole episode just about learning to orb walk, and I mean it's something that we've been learning. Like Adam's been saying, like he's been sending all these emails to us for listener questions. When we first like started working on this podcast, we thought, we don't want to make it just for new players because the audience isn't specifically there. So we were trying to figure out, how do we create a podcast that's for new players and everyone else. But in these past weeks, now that we've been sending out questions, like, guys, what do you want to know? I found like there's a lot of people that are still below level 30 wanting to know the basics of the game. So we're now trying to do is like figure out a way to take these basic mechanics and make them accessible for everyone.
Right. Well, let's talk about what Four Wards is, why I'm sending you guys these emails. Like, I know you laughed. You actually had a smirk on your face when I said the uninitiated, because that's the unofficial tagline right now. Because I don't have a better one. We're going to come up with a better one, but that's...
We're working on one right now.
Yeah, we're working on something. But go ahead. Tell us what Four Wards is, why we brought you on here, and drop some knowledge on us.
Yeah, so Four Wards is the newest Trinity Force podcast. It's here to be what the TForce podcast was back in 2012. It's here to help you learn about the game, so you can come over to Trinity Force proper and you know exactly what they're talking about, and you can sort of participate in the discussion yourselves. And it's really hard to do that if you don't even know, okay, what is orb walking? What am I supposed to do in the early game? All these things. We're trying to get stuff prepped. We got a whole series coming up on the different lanes. We're going to be bringing on some special guests from the challengers, as well as like Pseudonaut, Big Fat LP, who are writing books right now, like 160-page books about those. And we're going to try to condense those down to give you a good insight of what like the basics of each of those things are. And yeah, we're just taking all the questions that can be better answered on a simpler level that you guys are sending over to Trinity Force proper, and we're going to be trying to answer those. We got all of our guys, Asterition, Froz, and Doom, working just to try to answer all the questions right now. And like Doom has been very vocal. We're all very thankful for you guys supporting us as much as you have, and yeah, keep sending in questions.
It was a little overwhelming to see how many questions I sent you guys like in the first week. These are the stuff that comes into my inbox all the time. Like our inbox is swamped with questions, and
I thought I got through all of them. I come back the next day and like, oh geez, there's another 15 questions to get through now. Back to it.
That's right. Yeah,
Hey, that's what you live for.
that's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys have questions, you can still send them to feedback@trinityforcepodcast.com. But Four Wards at trinityforcepodcast.com is also accepting questions. So if you have some questions that you are unsure which podcast can answer, just copy one or the other on it, and we'll make sure it gets taken care of by the right podcast. And anytime a question is answered by Four Wards starting, they are going to reply and just let you know what episode it's answered on and why they're answering it, so you can go and listen to that answer. So I hope that doesn't offend anybody that we are shipping it off to this other podcast, but we do feel that since we are trying to expand
It's
the
a
network,
better management of resources.
correct. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
better
it
to have
makes
an
our
answer
podcast
than
less
nobody else.
redundant too, because I'm sure we've addressed things in the past over and over again, a couple of times here and there as questions come in. So
Like when we talk about Scion or
yeah, and you get more
Scion.
listeners. They're not going to
Yeah.
go back and listen to episode 30.
So if you want to know something about Lux, just head over to Four Wards. Asterition will talk your ear off.
He loves Lux.
that intro to episode 4,
Yeah.
was it?
I think that was episode 3. Yeah.
Well, he knows what champs he likes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
good.
so we brought Haber on because I want him to talk. I want you guys to, those out there who are not listening to Four Wards yet, I want you to hear Haber and what he has to say. So he's going to answer some of these listener questions for us and hopefully drop some good knowledge bombs here. So we're going to jump right into the mailbag. Joseph writes in, I am a solo queue silver player and I love Kennen. Excuse me. I never really get to play him because the expectation of me always being able to flash ult and be a gimped Amumu is too high. I do not really have anyone to do fives or even duo due to my schedule that I can explain this to. During the game, I try to explain it, but it puts people on tilt. How should I approach this so I can play a champ I love? Also, quick notes on Kennen W. Game sounds OP for knowing when W is ready. Kirby.
Good point.
Kirby.
Yeah.
I like you mentioned that. I lane against Kennen all the time, and I hear that little crunch. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I gotta stay back.
Well,
I guess I'm kind of confused by his question. Is what is he trying to explain to his teammates that he
Well, I
needs
think like
flash in
he's
order
trying to
initiate?
say, yeah, that's kind of what he's.
They don't
getting
like
at.
his pick. Yeah.
I think that anytime you try to have an in-depth explanation to your teammates, it's going to turn sour. I mean, it's going to
Right.
keep you from playing the game, and it's just to other people, and whether or not your points are valid to other people, it sounds like an excuse. So I'm not sure that trying to explain to everybody your situation is a great idea. A lot of times, Kennen, even if you flash ult, it's usually better if you do it as a follow-up engage, because if you engage with him, then a lot of times you can get CC'd really easily, and he's really squishy. So maybe try to wait for some ults to be blown or some CC. Like if their CC's down, you want to be really careful with his with going in like that on him. But his ult is really powerful. I mean, it's a great follow-up engage. It's a great engage if you can do it when ults are down or if you catch people off guard. You just have to know at practice when to go in and things like that. And just because other people are criticizing you doesn't mean that you should stop playing a champion that you love. Like if you really like playing him, then play him for you and mute anyone who's toxic, and just go about, have fun playing, because you're going to get more enjoyment out of that than trying to explain to everybody in solo queue what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that there are no winners for arguments over the internet. Whenever you have an internet argument, nobody wins. There's no point in trying to explain yourself. Just do as Dave said and just ignore those people if they hate your pick. And Kennen is not a bad pick. Kennen's a really good pick right now in this meta. He's very strong, so I would keep picking him. One thing I'd try to do is something I just mentioned a little bit earlier, as far as flanking goes. Kennen's pretty good at doing that. He's pretty good at approaching from the side, from behind, because usually that's where their backline is, and that's the perfect ult for you. So if your flash isn't up and your team is relying on you to initiate because they don't have a primary initiator, then that's a good way to get to the backline.
Yeah, a lot of times, like, because I also do bronze boot camp in Battle Arena all the time. Like at this ELO, I see people just sit around either in mid lane, and it's just 5 people staring down 5 other people, and that's not how Kennen initiates. You gotta it helps if you have TP, if you can flank around. You get wards, just to try to flank around the other side, so you have an advantage going in when you don't have your flash. Because if you just try to approach it like going straight on, everyone's just gonna back away from you every time.
Right. One of the big things, I would say playing Kennen, coming from somebody who played a lot of Kennen in the top lane, is that, a similar note, play Kennen, like they said, keep playing him, learn to play him, learn to love him. This goes with any champion that's out there. Learn to love him, learn what you can get away with, what you can't get away with, learn how to dominate a lane, learn how to take a tower early. Use everything you know, instead of worrying about engaging team fights with any champion out there, Malphite, Kennen, Amumu. Learn to dominate in other ways so that you can win the game without team fighting. Because that way you don't have to have the argument. But if it comes to team fighting, follow whatever these guys has to say about flanking with Kennen. You should never be the primary initiate. And if a team fight is breaking out, you should have done something before that team fight happened, or you should be in a different position to get to that team fight. Like that's the matter of the fact with him. You shouldn't be the primary initiate. And if you are, you need to find a way to get in that team fight when no one sees you get into that team fight.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of good Kennens roam kind of early. They're just roaming. You never know where Kennen is. You're like, damn it, he could be, lightning rushing out of a bush at any moment towards me. But that's another thing I've noticed too, is you can bait the enemy a little bit. You can lightning rush towards them like you're going to go to your ult and then kind of back off while you still have a little bit of that speed left. But be careful because you might bait your team thinking that you're going in. So I would get used to pinging when you're going in, maybe the assist ping before you go in. And otherwise, just like Adam was saying, try to win in other ways. Roam, get some kills, flank, and try that little bait trick, with the lightning rush up and out. It gets me a lot of the time. I'll see it, I'll like, oh crap. And I'll either, go ultra safe and flash away, or I'll throw a skill shot CC in that direction So it's a good way to get some cooldowns out of the way, and then you can actually initiate after the fact. So
He's a really
yeah,
good
keep playing.
counter engage too. If they jump on your team,
That's what he should be used for, is counter engage. That's
Well, it depends on the situation in the game, obviously.
I think he's a
And your
good
comp.
follow up. But yeah, just I don't know.
Oh no,
Trying to engage full on engage with him is really, really difficult because you have to live long enough to get your ult and stuns off. And if they have good CC, they can take you out before you do that.
Yes, you're right. He's much better counter initiate and secondary initiate or follow up engage. He should, like I said, should never be the primary. So let's go ahead and move on to Banzors. What's with the like half cracked smiles we got going up here, Days? You
Nothing.
you reading some messages and stuff to making you laugh?
No, I'm good. Sorry.
No, okay. Banzor writes in.
I didn't notice before. I'm going to be looking at Days.
now I'm smiling.
No, all she's been doing
No,
is
someone
like
sent
she's been half
someone sent me
cracked
something.
smiles.
One of our listeners sent me something.
Okay.
Oh, well, you can tell them to fuck off if it's about me.
Okay. It's all about you, Adam. It's always about you.
I know it is. I know.
People like are private
God
messaging me
complex.
about you.
Sadly, I really wouldn't put it past him to do that. Like, somebody like, tell this fucker to shut up in the fucking purple shirt. No, not that Adam guy, the punch guy.
Why'd you have to go there?
You could do
You
that
always have to
today.
take things too far, Adam.
Hey, so what's going on with that purple shirt there? You got the little King DeClawd going?
No, it's Mundo.
Ha ha.
Banzor's writes.
Yeah,
During
no.
the game, I found myself offering my lane farm to my jungler because he fell behind, and I wanted to help him catch up since I could spare the farm. My teammates, jungler included, all kept reminding me and pushing me to keep taking farm. No, you carry. You're so strong right now. And they were right. In hindsight, I should have just used my advantages to take more resources away from the enemy. We won anyways, but I still like to try and learn from the victory as well as defeat. Anyways, before this gets too long, which it already has, what can I do to flip the switch in my brain and have the carry mentality that I know I'm capable of instead of being too team focused and trying to translate my lead into a good catch up for my teammates who may be behind? Hint, I love playing supportive roles, which is probably why I default to this playstyle. So after all of that, he pretty much is being told to carry instead of give up farm and support, at least in this one example that he gave. And he wants to know how to mentally remind himself that he should just go ahead and carry.
You know, one thing, I don't know if this was Dom that did this or what, but somebody needed to remind themselves to use activatable items. This kind of seems like a kind of a similar thing in a way where he just needs to be reminded to take farm wherever he can. And I would say in order to do that, Dom's suggestion was to put like a sticky note on his monitor, like in one of the corners that just says use Shirleyas back when Shirleyas existed.
Right.
In this case, I would say be an asshole, because that's what you need to do in order to take the farm. That's your farm. That's not their farm. That's not the jungler's farm. That's your farm.
Just
Go
ask
fucking take
Forgiven.
it.
Forgiven. He
No
demands
regrets.
all farm. He demands all kills and team fights.
And in return, we will give you the game.
Yes.
And
then
when he
the
gets it, he still looks like he's pissed off at everybody.
right.
Well,
To his
he
face.
is.
Well, some of the kills didn't go his way. He got a few assists.
Have you
If he
not
has
read that
more-
article?
More than 0 assists, he's angry.
To switch that in your brain, I think you have two options here. It's either be an asshole and force yourself to start engaging team fights. It's start to playing selfishly. Start to play more selfishly, and then once you'll reach a threshold where you're playing too selfish and you're playing for only you, and then that you're not carrying your team, and you need to recognize that threshold. You'll recognize that when you start losing games when you were way ahead, because you'll engage a fight which you are really strong and ready to fight, but the enemy team is just as strong as you are, but they've got two people that are as strong. And you'll have to start recognizing that. I don't know when it'll click and how it'll click, but I think it'll be that first time that you Malphite ult into a Cassiopeia and get ulted mid-flight, and then realize that you are you done fucked up. You know?
Unstoppable. Force my ass.
It's weird that it can actually be stopped by stuff. But like, I don't think the fact that you want to be like a supportive role is bad for your team, and maybe it would be a good time to reanalyze what you really want to be doing in the game. You know, you don't have to be the carry. We've talked like not everyone's going to be the carry. Maybe your role you're better off being in a supportive role in any lane. There are supportive champions in every lane. There's Ashe at 80 carry. I mean, obviously support. Lulu mid lane. Half of the top laners are very supportive. I don't know, like if you just Yeah.
I was going to point out his second option is to switch your roles. I don't know. And he didn't say what role he plays, did he?
It sounded like AD carry, but I'm not sure.
Whatever role you're playing. If you're a supportive
Mage.
Katarad, it doesn't sound like you're playing the right role, or you're not playing the right champions. Look, she did it again. And that's you should be playing somebody on the top lane that's like Malphite that can engage and be that supportive player. You should be playing support and finding that groove that works out for you. Because I think a lot of us have gone through at some point in the game where we made it to X rank, but then we realized that we are actually better off playing a certain role because that fits our playstyle better, and that's actually helping us carry more. Surprisingly enough, while I do play top lane and now a little bit of jungle, I find myself playing AD carry and support in solo queue far more than I in any other role, because I don't have. Yeah, Adam's note says be an asshole, but I'm not big enough. I'm not a big enough asshole to be able to play Rivet and just carry away with the game. I can't do it. I have to play a supportive role.
Yeah,
If
I mean,
you
like,
want to continue, sorry, if you want to continue with the role that you're playing and you're just trying to change your mentality a little bit, you can just think of it a different way in terms of the best way sometimes for you to support your team is to carry them through fights that they can't win without you. So if you give all of your farm to somebody who's pretty far behind, then they're still going to be mediocre in fights, and they may need you to carry them, and they may need you to do that DPS or to be tanky or whatever it is that you need to be. And they can still catch up. You can still keep them safe, and they can farm their jungle, and you can help ward, or you can do a million things. You can still support your team from any role in this game. And there just sometimes when people fall behind, like we always tell people, if you fall behind, you need to be prepared to get carried. And you need to play accordingly and, let your team farm, and you need to play safe and things like that and just get carried. And sometimes the best way to support your team is to carry that person who needs to be carried. So it's good that you're looking out for your team, but, sometimes looking out for your team is getting so fed that you can help them win the game.
I like to kind of think of it as you're making a business deal. Like, say you're taking your jungler's farm. Like, okay, I'm going to take your farm, but later on, I'm going to come and help you out later. So we're going to take this farm, we're going to shove our tower, and then we're going to relieve the pressure mid for you.
And look at it this way. If, let's say, you have that mentality, and it's not a bad mentality at all. It's actually really rare, and I like it. I want to see more of it in solo queue when I play, which is nice. If you are ahead, and let's say your jungler, in your scenario, your jungler comes and he ganks for you. If he gets the kill, don't feel bad taking the farm, while he's there. Don't give him farm. He got the kill, which is great. If you get the kill, then go ahead and maybe you can let him take a little bit of farm if he's hanging around. Otherwise, he's probably running away. Don't insist and force upon him, take my farm. If he runs away, fine. Go ahead and take your farm like normal. So I don't lose that generosity, that spirit. But like everyone was saying here, recognize that sometimes the best way to help your team and support them is to carry them. And it depends how the game's going. If they're really getting shit on terribly, they're 3 levels behind the other jungler or their other matchup, for example, that little bit of farm you give them here and there is not going to help. You're going to have to give up a lot and then bring yourself down almost to his level to try to help him out. And you don't want to do that.
There's such an odd balance in this game between...
Give him assists instead.
There's such an odd balance in this game between trying to allow somebody to catch up and using what you've been given to carry the game. And there's a lot of times I'm just going to call Punch out on this one again because I like to call him out because that whole circle thing really pissed me off. No. In that, I have seen Punch fall behind as an AD carry in the past, and in that, if it was to give Punch all of the farm in a lane, and it was to give Punch all of the kills that I could give him, the fact of the matter is he's still not going to be good until a certain point in the game, because as an AD carry, he's so far behind that while he is catching up, he's not getting ahead, and the other AD carry is getting ahead, because most times in those team fights where Punch is behind, people are dying, and that other AD carry is getting kills, so for every little bit he's catching up, the other AD carry is getting ahead by a little bit. Now there is an equal, there will be a point where they equalize, but you need to make that decision. Is giving Punch this one kill in a team fight worth it when I could go in the next team fight and get a double kill if I'm Riven, for example? You have to recognize who you are, what you can do, and what your limitations are, and that's by playing 100 games, or not 100 games, but 10 or 15 games as that one champion. I know that sounds probably a little bit convoluted and a little bit against what you probably used to, but it's really coming down to playstyle and understanding limitations you're championing, understanding what you can get away with in the game.
Now he specifies. Sorry, Days.
No, go
He specifies farming creeps, but you did bring up the issue of letting people get hero kills, which is something I'm almost always strictly against. Letting somebody take the kill. I think there's too many things that can go wrong in a team fight or a gank where somebody can escape with a sliver of life. And no matter who you are, I would say secure that kill.
Oh yeah, 100%.
At all costs. KS stands for kill secured. I don't care if you're the support.
Yep.
Thank you. I agree 100%. I hate when people cry for me taking a kill. Even if I'm on Braum and I'm just sitting there trying to auto attack to get that stun so they don't kill him or something like that, and I happen to get the kill because I proc it. Oh well, it sucks. It's not as good as if he got it, but cry me river. Let's go.
And the sooner they die, the sooner they stop doing damage. So,
Yep.
My AD carry always gets pissed off when I play brand support and end up going 4-0 in lane. And I just have to look him in the eye and say, "Hey, I'm the carry now."
He's got to take it.
If you give away all your farm, if you're ahead and you give away all your farm to somebody who's really behind, it's kind of the equivalent of being a jungler and ganking a lane that's really far behind. There's not really much that you can benefit from it, and you're running a lot of risks doing it. So when you get into team fights, you're running the risk that the advantage that you had is now minimal, and now you're at or below the level of the enemy team because you gave away your advantage. The best thing you can do is take that advantage and make some use of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I feel.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. And that's where it's going to be hard for some people to understand, how do I make use of this kill? And it's not something that we can necessarily tell you how to do because there's so many different scenarios. I'm going to go back to, on Monday, just kind of give you guys a heads up, we're going to talk Battle Arena SmackDown Edition with Chris Alphanar, who played in it. He was also on previously. He's going to kind of explain to you why playing in a game and having somebody look at a replay or even look at his own replay was helpful for him, because he could say, oh, I didn't realize I was doing this improperly. Now I could make you, again, a 4-0 Mundo in the top lane, and now you want to give your farm up to somebody else. But in reality, you could just be pushing down top lane the entire game because of what is happening
deal there,
out there. Something we can't tell you because the game is so ambiguous, but it's just something to be mindful of. Map awareness, situation awareness, mid-game. But it's huge. The game is huge, and sometimes I hate having these conversations because I feel like we can't cover everything.
Can't cover every base.
Right.
But just put that sticky note up there. You can control yourself. You know what you can do. You don't know if you're giving farm to someone who's going to do anything with it. So just put the sticky note, be a little selfish, and move on.
Well, let's move on to Need More Dragons question. And this question before, I'm not going to read the whole thing. What his question is, the bottom line of the question, he goes, in a game, how does one judge distance as referred to as range? And I looked today. I saw a post a long time ago that actually gave you an idea of how long a range is. But I think the post was like something like a Lucian. That's it, Lucian, and look at his range of his Q, and then it'll tell you, like in the description, it's, I don't know, 650, 750, 850. I have to go look it up, and then that could be your basis. If you understand how long that range is, you could basis of it. Or flash. A flash is a set range. If you flash and you understand the range of the flash, you can use that as a basis when you're in the game to understand what all ranges of something are compared to the flash.
I don't know if people realize this, but if you hover over your AD, like in the bottom left-hand corner on your stats, if you hover that, it will actually draw a circle around you of your auto attack range.
Also,
so a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, if you press A as well.
Yeah, I know we've gotten this question before, and I think the last time we answered it, I think it turned into a discussion on having your key smart cast versus not, so that you can see the range when you cast a spell. And I think at the end of the day, we all came down to personal preference, whether what you feel better with casting things. When I'm learning a new champion, I try to take smart casting off of all of the skill shots, just so I know what the range are.
Get used
Because
to it.
I mean, it takes experience with that champion in order for you to learn, what the range of each spell is. And I like the flash idea, or taking a baseline stat and then judging everything off of that. But
Teemo.
in terms of Teemos too.
Teemo, yeah.
A team of units.
100 units.
Well, if you
I
want
still hover my mouse over all my abilities, like Pantheon's ult, for example.
all the time.
Pantheon's my favorite champion. I play him more than
Yeah.
anybody else. But I still, while I'm running towards a lane to gank, I will hover real quick just to see the indicator, so I have a real good idea on where it's going to be.
That's why
when I
I've
go and
said it
cast.
100 times. That's why I use the shift option for my normal cast spell, shift Q to R, because that way I can see what his range is while I'm running. I don't have to hover over it. I can do shift R and use my mouse to see where it is, because I'm already running there. My mouse can be doing whatever. You know, it's same thing. I think you can do that with there's a smart cast option, right, where you can
Alt,
alt
yeah.
and do that. But, you know, for Caitlyn, example, 650 range, if you just go into a game and you go stand next to a tower or go stand someplace that you would normally stand in the game that kind of give you an idea, press A, you'll see the 650 range. From her to the end of the circle, the outermost part of the circle, is 650 range that she can attack. So you'll know now that's 650 range. So you can compare that. If you have to, go get a measure. You know, go get a ruler and measure the exact distance is 2 inches. I don't know what it is. I really don't. And whatever helps you, whatever. Get a sticky note, stick it on your screen. That's 650 range. It might get in the way of everything else, but hey.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it also comes down to playing the same champions over and over, because you get used to, if you play a lot of Caitlyn, you know what 650 range looks like, so you can go and you can play another 80 carry and you can go, okay, well I have 75 less range than that, so I need to move a little bit closer. So a lot of it's just getting really familiar with your champions and knowing their ranges.
Oh,
Yeah, and you bring out that point. Like, it's good if you just go to Google, type in your champion's name, then wiki. You'll be taken to like the wiki page for that champion, where they show exactly how big the range is, because it doesn't show it in the client all the time, the range of all the abilities. But you can get an idea. Okay, like Jinx's Zap, that's 1425 total range. So, I mean, you just go into game, keep firing it off over and over again until you have a good idea. Okay, that's 1400 range, like Pone was saying earlier.
Yeah.
And on that note, like Haberdashing happens to know exactly how long Jinx's range is on her Zap, but a lot of Jinx players just know by feel how far it's going to go or where it's going to be. They don't necessarily know exactly how long the range is, but they can go in and they can hit the max range things because they're just used to it.
Blitz, oh my god, it's always 100 units longer than it looks. God damn it.
Yeah, and Thresh Hook, always goes 100 units to the right or left more than it should.
yeah, exactly. You're like, oh, that totally missed me. It moved.
Oh my god. Yeah, because the hitbox is fucking ginormous.
That is.
You will notice though that a lot of players, this is kind of like this always devolves into the smart casting and normal casting argument, and that you'll see that a lot of pro players will get an idea of range very quickly by doing their quick smart cast or their quick normal cast, whatever hotkey they have it set up, the smart cast range finders. So they get a quick out range of what it's going to be, and then they walk in there and they do it. But that's from playing the champion so many times and having understanding of ranges. So yeah, do go in the game, do what we said, and you should have a much better idea how to play a champion or play any ability.
Shifu brings up a good point in chat about playing against a champion and learning the range of opposing champions. One problem I had against Fizz is I didn't respect the range of his ultimate. I'm like, whoa, that range is so huge! And you don't really truly appreciate it until you actually play the champion, and then you can get an idea of in your head, like, okay, this is his area of influence. So next time you play against him, you know where you can stand to be safe.
Area influence is a good way to put that. Teemo. Who did I hear this saying the other day? I think it was Darkener on TeamSpeak. It was somebody. There was a rumor going around that Teemo was a counter to Darius, but it's not actually true because Teemo's auto attack range is 500, but Darius's grab range is 550.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. I like back in season 3, I used to play top lane all the time, and you always saw Darius, and you just got to the point where you know exactly, like by feel, like how long that range is. So you can sit on the edge of that and just piss him the hell off.
Yeah, and stand on the outside just so he can't pull you, and then he tries to. Yeah, but even then, a lot of the abilities say 550. They feel 575.
And it's like the way they calculate it, like skills, they go center to center, auto attacks, it's edge to edge. And like so,
Right.
600 range on an auto attack isn't 600 range on an ability. So that's why you need to go in and experiment for yourself how it
Exactly.
feels.
Good. I'm glad you brought that up. Don't be stuck on the numbers 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, this is exactly 600 range, because it is from either the center or the edge of your champion. Different abilities have different things. Play the champion. Get used to it. I like Punch said, take off your smart cast when you're first learning a champion. Then when you're comfortable, go ahead and put it on. Maybe one ability at a time. Maybe you're not used to a certain ability, and you keep it off smart cast. So
That's why it's so weird, because like Haber just said, there's sometimes it's middle of the champion to end a spell. Sometimes it's end of champion spear to end a champion spell. Like you never know what it is until they call it out in a patch note later.
There was a bug, there was a Reddit thread long ago about a bug with, I think, Vayne's auto attack range, where it's actually longer than
Yeah,
550.
Varus, yeah.
Yeah, Varus
It's
can attack
weird.
her at max range, and he's got 575, I believe.
Yeah.
And Vayne can attack him back. So, I mean, the numbers lie sometimes.
This
Well, Quinn-
is why I'm not an
Quinn's
accountant.
Quinn's vault was just fixed, by the way, because you would vault and then you'd have to run up to them to auto attack
Yep.
right after the fact. So
Yeah.
that's one thing you don't have to worry about as Quinn players. So get out there and play Quinn again, guys, if you haven't been playing, because that's been annoying.
Annie's R is actually a lot longer. It's funny that Darkner, he brought this up in chat, just about to say it. Annie's R is longer than the actual radius of it because of how the radius of Tibbers is actually bigger than the radius of where the ultimate can be cast. So you can
You just gave Riot an idea for a new skin.
I'm imagining a
Teemo.
big flaming Teemo that Annie summons.
I would love it.
Death and destruction.
I would never play this game again. I would quit now.
All right, let's move on to the next question. Rollins writes, I've got friends who this question, before I read it, he wrote this really long email, and I condensed it down to one sentence. And it's essentially, I've got a friend who has a long history of bad decision-making and poor champion selection, or what he deems poor champion selection. Rollins does. He wants to know, how do I change the mindset to get him to learn this game? And the poor champion selection, using air quotes for the podcast listeners, is like, how cool does the guy look? Or how hard is he to play? And my question to you, Rollins, is something that is, does your friend actually want to get better at this game?
Or does he want to have fun?
Hey,
And is that
fine
why
with
he's
fine.
picking the champions that he's picking? Because he
I'm
wants
like
to have
your
fun.
friend.
Those champions are fun.
I pick champions. I tend to play champions that I think look cool. I like the atmosphere, the voice kit, all that stuff. I enjoy it, and I have a better experience playing the game. Therefore, I try to do better things and play him better. So that might be a strength. But if he's looking at how difficult they are to play, maybe he knows limitations. Maybe, if you're saying he's trying to pick easier champions to play. But I think the best advice you can give your friend is just pick someone you think looks cool, looks fun. Know the style, know that champion. Okay, am I picking this? I don't like 80 carry, but I really love how Varus looks, so I'm going to play him mid. Something like that you gotta work with a little bit. He has to know the limitations and the roles of that champion. But outside of that, just tell him to get out there and play.
Yeah, and that's like something that we've like really hammered on the Four Wards podcast. Just play what you love to play. You'll be more driven to play more games, learn more about that champion. And yeah, there's like technically counter picks, air quotes again here, but I mean, even then, like according to the statistics, the best matchups, you're only winning another 6% of the time going against that one champion. It doesn't matter. That is instantly negated by knowing more about that champion. So, like, yeah, encourage your friend just to play around, try out some new stuff. Make sure they're playing all the free week champions just in a bot game or something quick. Just so they have a quick feel of, oh, yeah, I don't want to play the Teemo ever again. Like a good person.
This is something I'm going to cover on Monday with Chris, and from a psychological aspect, is that this player may be playing out. The step back, this person or you and all of us, we play this game for different reasons. Some of us play to get better. Some of us play as a stress relief. You could have a family of 5, spend all day at work, come home, have to deal with the family, get the screaming kids to eat, get them to bed, and at the end of the day, all you want to do is play the game and get stress relief. So
Play Nasus then.
Yeah, do you ask your friend, do you want stress relief or do you want to get better at this game? And if he doesn't want to get better at the game and you want to, play with him for fun. Don't play with him to get better at the game. It really comes down to what you want and recognizing what he wants and then finding the compromise that works for best of you. Again, Trinity Force podcast, the Dr. Lore of League of Legends podcast.
But you know what? If he's playing that one champion that he loves the look of a lot, then he's getting better at that champion. That's just practice makes perfect, you know? So he is getting a little bit better every time, and he's comfortable. It becomes a comfort pick for that player. You're sure he'll branch out maybe here and there, but as long as he knows what role he's filling, I don't think it's a problem.
Let's go ahead and move on to the next question. Jack writes in, really long question. I'm going to read the red that I have out here. What I'd really like to hear from you guys is which laners can play from behind and try to make a better impact around the map and not become dead weight for 30 minutes. We actually kind of touched on this earlier with the whole, do I give farm? How do I give farm? What do I need to do? But we didn't touch on if you are in the shoes of the person who is behind in the game.
So he's asking for specific champions?
He's actually asking for specific champions that can play from behind, but I think the better topic of discussion here is how to play from behind and what you should do in the area where you have been completely destroyed in lane, or you've walked out of lane 0 and 2, or you've been counter jungled the heavens.
Yeah, before we get in like the whole discussion of playing from behind, I just want to like quick touch on, you shouldn't ever go into the game thinking you're going to lose lane, even if you're going up against what like someone would call like a bad matchup. There's still that opportunity to outplay and play better. It's not automatically, okay, I'm just going to sit at my tower and farm for the next 15 minutes. But say you are in that position now, like we can talk about that here.
Yeah, go ahead if you would like to start the conversation.
I think, like it's been said multiple times, the biggest part is not dying. As long as you're not dying, you can always move ahead in game. Yeah, if you're playing Nasus into Riven, it's a shitty matchup for Nasus. But if you don't die to Riven, Riven's going to fall off entirely.
And you're just going to keep getting stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed Chira surprised me all the time, because sometimes he'll be playing top lane champion. Jax, for example, every time he plays Jax, I don't think I've seen one where he started off kicking butt. He's gone like 0-6, 0-7. Then all of a sudden, he just turns it on. He hits that power spike and everybody dies and there's nothing they can do about him. So you're right in asking what champions. There are some champions and some roles where you can't really just play from behind. Support role, as long as you're warding and using your abilities, doesn't matter if you're level 4 or level 6 with all your abilities, or and your opponent's level 9 support, doesn't matter as long as you're throwing out those wards and helping out. But as long as you are on a champion that you're comfortable with, then I think there's always a chance to come back. Now, I'm a little biased. I never surrender. Never. I don't care how terrible, and it pisses Adam off all the time. He's getting better with it, because he's...
Oh, no, I'm way better at it.
He plays the game now to play the game, But Veigar, for example, he was one where, you got to farm his Q stacks. If somebody keeps him down, there's no way you're going to come back. That's so wrong now. I've had so many games where I've been worried about that myself. I'm like, damn, I'm getting my butt kicked mid lane. My tower goes down, then all of a sudden I hit that point where I just happen to naturally get up to a certain amount of AP where I can delete somebody and I'm back in the game, So it's never over.
The easiest champions to come back from behind are any champions that can get really tanky and support their team that way, or any champions that have a lot of utility. Exactly. Because both of those fill a role that are not necessarily damage reliant. And it's a lot easier to scale defense than it is to scale offense when you're behind. It's just the way that the numbers work. It's easier to buy the defense than it is offensive items. But if you're just behind, you need to just focus on farming, no matter what champion you are, and make sure that you're warding, or your team is warding very effectively. And if you have that vision control, then getting picks is a lot easier. Not getting caught is a lot easier. All of those situations. So, you can come back from behind on an AD carry or on an AP mid. It's a little bit harder if you don't have that utility to help your team in team fights, because you're not going to be fulfilling the role that you necessarily normally would. But you just want to make sure you keep warding and make sure that you keep farming the whole game. Don't ever just walk away and go, I'm behind, I'll let someone else, Just try to take what you can and make the best of what you have.
Yeah, like if you take a Lulu top lane, Like, she's so chock full of utility that it doesn't matter if you fall behind. In a team fight, you can single-handedly save whoever they dive. With your ultimate,
you can turn a team fight into a 4v5 instantly.
Yeah.
I mean, just out of one ability, and then you can save another team member and turn the team fight into a 3v5. All in a spell rotation.
Because Jack specifically asked, let's give some champions who can really do well coming back specifically.
Morgana, Malphite, Amumu, Sejuani, Nautilus, Nasus. I mean, you pick anybody.
All tanky and utility-oriented champions.
That's exactly it. Yeah, so that's
also hyper carries, because you have someone like Corki who it's not so much so bad now in this meta, but he hits a mid game power spike and then he kind of falls off. Pantheon's similar as well. If you do really well early, you're great. You set up your team, but otherwise you're almost dead weight unless you can pull something out of your rump. But hyper carries as well. I know Kog'Maw, Callista. If you can just survive and keep it going to the late game, you're just going to keep getting better and better and better.
The only problem with that is that your team has to be really good at stalling the game because those hyper carries need a lot of items to do anything. So you really have to communicate with your team and beg them not to fight until you're farmed.
Keep hitting no when they try to surrender.
Yeah. You also need to change your play style when you get into team fights. Say like Nectin Top, who does like to go farther into the back line. You need to maybe stay farther back. Or when you're playing Leona, you're trying to peel for the people who are ahead. Let them carry for you. It's all adjusting your play style to the situation at hand.
Yes.
Yeah, Renekton's a very good example. There have been games where I've played with Renekton where I've fallen behind, and I have had to rein myself back and just stand by the AD carry and be a stun bot with my W. Like, this guy does a lot more than I do, so I'm just going to stand here and wait.
Yeah, and shred armor with your slice and dice if you have 50 rage for it. One thing I would like to bring up, and I think this will kind of roll out the end of the conversation, is that if you are playing any lane, top, mid, bottom, and it is okay to give up farm if you are behind, you have fed at least, I would say, 1 kill. If you fed 1 kill, it is okay to stand near your tower and let that person farm and push it to you, because unless they are really good at this game, most people are going to push that wave to you and feed you free XP and feed you free gold. Now, if they're really good, they're going to stall it out, and they're going to force you to make a decision. Do I stand around and try to get that XP at my max range? Do I go in the jungle and try to hit camps? Do I teleport and roam somewhere and hope it works out for me? Like, that's when the high level or the higher level of play comes in there. But I would say with probably the majority of our listeners, it's stand at your max range, let them push it to you, farm safely into your tower, and just don't give up another kill. Don't die. It all goes back to what we said. Just don't die. At any point in time, just do your best not to die. And games are going to get out of your control. What I fear is that this conversation is someone is going to email me and say, I was Olaf into Fiora, and I was wrecking her face early, and she killed me. And then she ran away with the game, and I couldn't do anything. And I watch your replay, and you're 0-4 at 12 minutes. That tells me you fucked up, and the Fiora outplayed you, rather than you actually listening to our advice and doing, and playing safe and yada yada. So, take some ownership to your actions,
and don't surrender.
Yeah.
Don't surrender. Say no. Be that second guy. I'm starting a movement. I'm always going to be the one. So
I will
someone
say
else.
that you're going to keep
just
calling
press
me out
no.
on it.
There you go.
You can stop calling me out on it, because I've been doing a lot better recently than I have.
Oh
in the
yeah,
past.
I'm not calling you out. I do agree. You have gotten way better at you sometimes I've almost felt demoralized, like, man, this game's pretty much over, and you've been like, you know what, guys, we can still win if we do this, and that gave me enough of a boost to keep hitting no and lose like a man.
You'll see me on an early Sunday or Saturday morning tweet about some of the really shitty games I had. You just seen this one last week. Like, I should recount it for you, but basically I want to say, anybody out there who thinks that you're an elo hell at bronze, it's at every fucking rank in this entire game.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think it helps to focus on the next 5 minutes of the game. Say you're 20 minutes in and everyone's already forfeit now. Just focus what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes of the game, instead of saying, the game's totally over, we should just surrender, move on. Yeah, you just take it a little chunk at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, has it always been somebody trickling in? Have you never even team fought yet and seen what you can do? Is it just a communication thing? So, and regardless of whether it is or isn't, hit no. Thank you.
All right, last question of the night, and then we'll tap it out, because that actually almost ends all of our listener questions that I have put in the mailbag.
Yep, and put more.
Time to go grab more out of the inbox and put them in here. Anthony, coming from someone who isn't particularly mechanically gifted. Actually, this kind of I saw this and I was like, DeClawd probably should answer this one. Coming from somebody who isn't particularly mechanically gifted, and since I certainly don't get tons of kills in game or do tons of damage, all I have to go on is that I'm winning more than I've been losing, and I'm a little terrified of going on a massive losing streak when it feels like the luck just runs out, dropping me back to mid-low gold again. My God, that was a run-on sentence. Do you have any advice on how to tell if I've really improved since last season? Is it just the meta that's shifted into a playstyle that fits me? Am I just fluke lucky player? You hear about on Reddit that should be in bronze but made it to diamond. All of the above, I want to say, because last season didn't fit my playstyle at all. I'm
right.
lucky that I sat in plat at all last season, because
if the meta fits your playstyle, yeah,
it was just terrible.
Then ride that out. But you don't have to be mechanically gifted to get up to plat. At least I don't. I think I could still make it to diamond with my MS and my hands and my dexterity being all terrible. But as long as you know what you're doing in the game, and then of course concentrate on what you can do and not what somebody else can do. If you notice that there are champions that are easier for us less mechanically gifted players. So know your limitations.
DeClawd, that you mentioned that, because I've never actually said this to you until now, is I've had conversations about you with Dom. Nothing ever bad, by the way. Just that I think I mentioned one day that every champion that you play is not mechanically... there's no crazy mechanics. You're not playing Riven. You're playing Pantheon, Malzahar, and Ziggs, which is a little more mechanically inclined. But still, nothing that's crazy. You're not playing AD carry, for example. But you're making it work, and I think I've mentioned that to like Dom before, and just had a laugh about it.
Yep, you can make it work. Find the champions that just you can play and do well on, despite your mechanical disability, whatever it might be. Or if you don't have I have a great excuse. That's one good thing I can say. Whew, at least I'm not just bad.
My MS acted up.
But if you are, that's okay. You can always improve. Days had an excellent. What was it? A website or a little typing trainer to help your mechanics?
I do. Yeah, I'll have to give it to Adam and he can put it. Yeah, there's Osu is really, really, really good, and then there's a Cursor Invisible game. Yeah, if you just look up Cursor Invisible, it's actually a really addicting game. You can play in Champ Select because it doesn't take long, and it helps significantly just with your mouse control and knowing where your cursor is. And it's crazy how advantageous it is to not have to look at your cursor when you're playing. Mm-hmm. Like if you're looking at your cursor, there's a million other things that are going on that you're not seeing. So that's really helpful. And as for knowing if you've improved from last season or not, I think that there are certain things that are relatable to every season. Are you CSing better than last season? Are your KDAs better? Are you building more efficiently? Are you dying less? Are you warding properly? Are you warding every single time your trinket's up? Things like that. It doesn't matter what the meta is. It doesn't matter what's going on in the season. It doesn't matter who you're playing. If you can say that those things have actually improved for you, then that's a huge reflection on your growth in the game.
Mm-hmm. You should check out Forward's podcast.
Yeah, son of a bitch. I was just about to get to that. We talked about this the very first episode of the podcast, a mindset. And I think like the bigger thing in this email that we didn't really talk about is that you're terrified of going on a losing streak. You don't feel like you belong in the elo you are. Try to give yourself some damn credit for where you are already. Go back at your replays, say what you're doing right. The big thing that we touched about is like knowing what puts you on tilt so you can avoid them, or at least recognize when it's going to happen. And, keep a record of your gains and what happened in them, and specifically what happened to you in them. Just have a journal right beside you, or type up a document and say, okay, this game I played Caitlyn, I died 2 times. I need to work more on warding the river from 3 minutes to 5 minutes to make sure we're there for the first gank. Just something to reflect. And you go back and look at the end of the season, and you have all these notes, and I guarantee you will be seeing improvement.
Mm-hmm.
As Haberdashing says, don't be afraid of just going on this huge unlucky streak. I mean, I haven't heard of somebody on Reddit going from bronze to diamond out of pure luck. I'm pretty sure that doesn't exist.
No.
For where you're at now, I'm sure you deserve to be there. and have the confidence that if you do go on some terrible losing streak, that you can make it back to where you're at now eventually.
If you've played 100 ranked games, and chances are, unless you've made some serious improvements or you stopped caring about the game or something, you're probably where you should be. After, it usually levels out about like 100 or 200 games in. So if you're 13 games in or something, or 50 games in, then yeah, maybe you're going to fluctuate a little bit. But if you've played 100 games, then you're probably where you belong, and you just have to make adjustments from there.
And set your sights higher. Always achieve the next rank up.
Yep.
Yeah, I think everything here is. I couldn't have said it better. It's just there's always something you can learn from season to season. Some of us are faster learners than others. Some of us have you know what? Use the community to help you as well. I know we had mentioned last week we're not really playing as many in-houses, but I think that's going to change in the next couple of weeks. We're going to try to have more of a focus of what people are doing in the in-houses. Go listen to Four Wards. They're doing a little bit of coaching here and there. I think you guys are like trying to get as many people as you can, right? To do coaching.
Oh yeah. We're building it up, and I've got some things in the works. I'm not ready to like talk about it on the podcast here yet, but yeah, we're kind of building up a whole system for people to improve their game, and we just want to develop the community more.
Yeah, and part of that is, I keep mentioning it. I told these guys before, we're building a feature. There's gonna be more coaching with Trinity Force Network. This whole community, use the community with what we've given you already, and know that there's gonna be more coming in the future. Just work through it and try to get better. Play one-on-ones. People in the TForce chat will help you out. If they don't respond right away, just spam the fuck out of my TForce chat. I can't moderate you. I don't care. Just get somebody to help you. Somebody's there at all times. Get in TeamSpeak, ts.trinityforcepodcast.com, and that. Just my last and final note is this: we are a community. The Trinity Force Network is a community of people who want to make you better at this game, because I want to see you, the Bronze 5, air quotes, scrub in Platinum or Diamond at the end of the season. I want to see you there fighting against me, because if you are there fighting against me, it means I did my job correctly and I taught you something. So, and that's the fulfillment. That's all the fulfillment I need as a player.
Well said, Adam.
Thank you.
Yeah. And as the leader, our fearless leader.
Yeah, I want to see that, air quotes again, Bronze 5 scrub beat the shit out of me in Platinum, because he learned all this shit from me on the podcast, and I didn't get better, because that's going to force me to get better to teach you guys to get better. I need to be beaten down just as much as you guys do to get better at this game. Yeah, everyone's giving me the eye. This is the Adam I know. What is this?
No, I'm having a hard time believing that you would acknowledge that you got beat down by said player.
If he's Bronze
Internally,
5, he can't beat me down, so what's it matter?
Exactly.
There we go. There's our Adam.
Yeah. All right, guys, go check out the Four Words podcast. Haber, you can go ahead and give the little spiel if you want. I know we keep bringing it up.
Sorry, what little spiel?
Hey guys, go check out the Four Words podcast. This is for everybody out there who wants to get better at this game and wants a different perspective than the Trinity Force gives. If you want I don't want to say it like that. If you guys want if you want to learn about the minutia of the game that the podcast is not talking, more like the micro rather than the macro, go listen to the Four Words podcast, because they're going to talk about it. While we are going to continue to cover patch notes, we're going to continue to cover ways to get you better at this game. We all serve our purposes. That's what the network is here for. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, I think we put this out on Twitter, just sort of like a quick summation. The proper is what you can do in League, the limits of it, and Forward is showing you how you can get there. Yeah. So that's it.
Yeah, you got it. That's episode 248 of the Trinity Force podcast. Guys, don't forget to go donate to us, trinityforcepodcast.com/donate. TrinityForceNetwork.com is coming, so if there's burps, there is that. Other than that, guys, that is the episode for this week. Thank you so much for sticking with the Trinity Force Network, and we will see you on episode 249 on Monday with Chris Alfnar, the esports psychologist that works with Weldon Green.
Later.
See you.
Later, guys.
Yeah.